Hi, I'm JP Murrieta with the New Mexico Activities Association. Year in and year out, it seems like there's some confusion or misunderstanding on how the seeding and selection process works. This video is designed to help you understand how the teams get seeded for the state championships. There's a misconception that the NMAA has input or bias with the seeding and selection to the state tournament. NMAA staff member. Let me repeat that. There is no input given by the NMAA. Teams don't get seeded higher or lower because you think we like that school or don't like another school. That's not how it works. Here is the criteria used by the NMAA to determine the seeding and selection. This criteria is finish in regular season district play. We make head-to-head comparisons against schools. We look at wins against district champions regardless of class. A team's overall record, or rather their win percentage, is another element of criteria, as well as a school's max preps ranking. The final criteria is member school input, or a coach's form submitted to the NMAA before the seeding process begins. All of this criteria is data driven. We are using numbers and numbers only to seed and select. Not one of the criteria is more important than another. For example, head-to-head does not weigh more in determining a seed than overall record. If there is a tie between two schools with criteria points, then head-to-head will be used. If there's no head-to-head competition or the head-to-head is tied, then the max preps ranking will be used to break the tie. Here's how the process works. First, we receive the district placement form from the district chairperson. We get this form from every single district. The district chair will write down who finished first, second, third, etc. This is very important. In seeding and selection, a team cannot be seeded or selected in front of another team that finished above them in the district standings. Here's an example. If one school finished second in the regular season and another school finished third in the regular season, the third place team cannot be seeded ahead of the second place team. The member schools and commission and board of directors wanted to put importance on the district season. So you can't be seated above someone that finished higher. Now, in the event of a tie in the regular season district standings, the NMAA staff may use the 6 criteria points or any other head-to-head competition to determine the seeding and selection order between the two teams that are tied. After we get the district placement forms, then we receive the school input forms. These are filled out from the coach from each school. We request them from every school, whether they think they will make the postseason or not. It's very important all coaches submit this form because it has an effect on seeding and selection. Once we get these forms, the votes are tabulated by putting them into a matrix or a spreadsheet that looks like this. All the teams are listed vertically and horizontally. Now, this is an example from the 2019 boys basketball seeding for Class 5A. Volcano Vista submitted their member school input form. They voted Las Cruces first, Volcano Vista second, Rio Rancho third, etc., etc. So Las Cruces gets 16 points, Volcano Vista gets 15 points, Rio Rancho gets 14 points, etc., etc., all the way down their rankings. The last team on a coach's input form would get 1 point. We go to another school that submitted their form. Carlsbad listed Volcano Vista first, Las Cruces second, Rio Rancho third, etc., down their poll and ranking. So Volcano Vista gets 16 points, Las Cruces gets 15 points, Rio Rancho gets 14 points, and all the way down. We then add up all the points for every school that submitted a form, and the school with the most amount of points becomes number 1 in the coaches poll. The team with the second most points becomes number 2 in the coaches ranking, etc., etc. So that's how we determine where a team ranks when it comes to coaches' input. As you can see, there are some blank columns. There are schools that don't submit a form. If coaches don't send in these forms, it can be greatly affected where a team might be seated. So make sure, if you're a coach, you get in that form. The district placement forms are in, the member school input forms are in. We are ready to begin the seeding and selection process. Let's start with 2 schools. How about we compare Las Cruces and Rio Rancho? Here's a look at the 6 criteria points we use to evaluate the seeds. The first criteria looked at is finish in regular season district play. Las Cruces finished first, and Rio Rancho did not win their district. So Las Cruces gets a point over Rio Rancho. Next is head-to-head. They didn't play each other, so no point for either team. Next, we measure up wins versus district champs. And when I say wins against district champions, remember, it does not matter the class. Las Cruces could beat a district champ from El Paso, and we would count that. Rio Rancho could beat a district champ from Class 3A, and we would count that. Now, Las Cruces had 1 win against a district champ. Rio Rancho had 6, so Rio Rancho gets a point there. Next is overall record, or their win percentage. Las Cruces is unbeaten at 28-0. They obviously had a better overall record, so they get a point over Rio Rancho. Then we move on to the Max Preps ranking, and we get the Max Preps rankings the morning of seeding and selection. Max Preps had Las Cruces higher in their ranking, so Las Cruces gets another point. Finally, we compare the coach's input form, which I showed you with that matrix. Las Cruces was higher on the coach's input, so they get another point. As you can see, Las Cruces earned a total of 4 points when matched up against Rio Rancho. The overall score was 4-1. So, Las Cruces must be seeded higher than Rio Rancho. That's how it works. We do this for every team comparing one to the other. Now let's take a look at one more example. Let's pair up Las Cruces and Volcano Vista from the 2019 season. The first criteria point is district finish. Las Cruces finished first and Volcano Vista finished first. Neither school gets a point there. Next, we look at head-to-head. They didn't play each other, so neither school gets a point there. Next, wins against district champions. In this case, Las Cruces had 1 win against a district champ. Volcano Vista had wins against 3 district champs. Volcano Vista gets a point for that criteria. Next is overall record. Las Cruces gets a point on that criteria. The next criteria is Max Preps ranking. Max Preps had Volcano Vista 1 and Las Cruces 2, so Volcano Vista gets a point for that criteria. And the last criteria we look at is the coach's input forms, which we discussed earlier. They have Las Cruces number 1 and Volcano Vista number 2, so Las Cruces would get that point. Now that leaves 2 points for Las Cruces and 2 points for Volcano Vista. As we said at the beginning of this video, if there is a tie between 2 schools with criteria points, then head-to-head will be used. If there is no head-to-head competition or the head-to-head is tied, then the Max Preps ranking will be used to break that tie. Las Cruces and Volcano Vista didn't play each other, so then Max Preps is used to break the tie. And as we mentioned, Max Preps had Volcano Vista 1 and Las Cruces ranked 2, so Volcano Vista will then be seated ahead of Las Cruces. Again, this is all data-driven. There is no opinionated input, no bias. It's all based on those 6 criteria points. Now, sometimes it gets a little tricky. Let's say, for example, there's a 3-way tie. Here's another example from a couple years back in softball. Miyamura beat Bernalillo in criteria points 3-2. Los Lunas beat Miyamura in criteria points 4-2, but Bernalillo beat Los Lunas in criteria points 3-2. So, which school gets seated above the other? There is a way to determine it. Again, it's all based on the numbers. We use the 6 criteria points with all 3 schools. So let's go through this. First criteria point, finish in district play. Los Lunas finished 2nd in their district, Miyamura finished 3rd, and Bernalillo was a district champ. Now to simplify, we rank the 3 schools, 1, 2, 3. So as you can see by this 1 criteria point, since we are ranking them, a team will win the 3-way tie with the lowest total points. Next is head-to-head. In head-to-head wins against the 3 schools, Los Lunas beat Miyamura and Bernalillo didn't play either school, so again, we issue 1 point for Los Lunas, 2 for Bernalillo, and 3 for Miyamura. Next criteria point is wins against district champions. Los Lunas beat 3 district champions, Miyamura beat 2, and Bernalillo beat 1. Therefore, Los Lunas won that category, so we put a 1 next to them. Miyamura gets a 2, and Bernalillo a 3. Next is overall record, and Los Lunas had a win percentage of .615. Miamura, 720, and Bernalillo, 880. Since Bernalillo had the best overall record, we put a 1 next to them. Then it's Miamura 2 and Los Lunas 3. In the Max Preps ranking, Miamura was ranked 5th, Bernalillo 6th, and Los Lunas 7th. So the order of points is 1 for Miamura, 2 for Bernalillo, and 3 for Los Lunas. In the coach's input, they had Los Lunas ranked 5th, Miamura 6th, and Bernalillo 7th. So Los Lunas is a 1, Miamura 2, and Bernalillo 3. To break the tie, we add up all the points in the 6 criteria, and as you can see, Los Lunas had 11, Bernalillo with 12, and Miamura with 13. Now remember, in breaking a tie, the smallest amount of points is the winner. So Los Lunas, with the smallest amount of points in this particular tiebreaker, would be seated above Miamura and Bernalillo. Now since Los Lunas will be seated above the other schools, we can now take them out of the equation. Now we have Miamura and Bernalillo. We compare them against each other on their own. Since Miamura beat Bernalillo against each other on the 6 criteria points, Miamura has to be seated above Bernalillo. That's how you break a 3-way tie. Now there are some situations in a 3-way tie when 2 schools have the same amount of points. For example, schools 1 and 2 have 12 points and school 3 has 14 points. Well, we can't take school 1 or 2 out because the 2 top teams are tied. So in this situation, we take out school number 3 since they would have the most points in a 3-way comparison. Once we take them out, remember, they can't be seated above school 1 or school 2. Then we would compare school number 1 with school number 2 to determine who would be seated above the other. So, as you can see, as we go through all the criteria points in seating and selection, everything is data driven. There is no bias, no opinion, no input given by the NMAA. When people question why one school was seated above another, it all comes down to the numbers. You have to go back to the 6 criteria points and compare each school against the other in all classification. Every seating and selection position is justified by the data. Feel free to reach out for any further clarification or questions. Thank you for watching. Hey high school sports fans, the 2019 NMAA Fall Championship season is right around the corner. I know a lot of you really enjoy purchasing our state championship programs. Well now, we are giving everyone an opportunity to see one at no charge. You can view it online for free. This year, the NMAA online only. A hard copy will not be sold at the event. So how do you get it? It will be available on the NMAA 24/7 app. The only way to view the programs is by downloading for free. Those championship programs, you know, the ones with team photos, rosters, matchups, state records, featured article about the legend of the sport, it can all be accessed online for free. Just download the NMAA 24/7. Welcome to the NMAA Seating and Selection Show for the Fuddruckers State Soccer Championships. I know we have a lot of teams out there watching. The Centennial Lady Hawks are together watching this show. I wonder where they will end up. Well, we're about to find out. The Albuquerque Academy girls team is watching as we speak. What seed did the Pirates are out there? So are the Hatch Valley Bears. Let me hear you, ladies. Excited to see where you end up, right? Well, on the boys' side, St. Man did, and so does their rival Los Lunas. I wonder if those two will meet up again this postseason. We're about to take 24/7 app. You already know who earned the #1 seeds. We released them earlier today before the show. If you don't have the app yet, download it now. We'll wait. Okay, I'm not going to make you wait. It's free. Download. I know you're probably holding the cell phone in your hand right now. While you are downloading the app, let's review the seating and instructional video about the seating process and how it works. If you missed it, let me give you a crash course. The following criteria is used to determine a team's seed. We look at finish in regular season district play, head-to-head matchups, wins against district championship teams regardless of class, overall record, max preps rankings, and member school input. That's the coach's input and ranking. There is no input given by the NMAA. Let me repeat that. No input given by the NMAA. It's all data driven. There is no bias for or against any school or team. So there should be no confusion on how your school received the seeding they did. The process is spelled out with the criteria points voted on by the member schools. We all good with the seeding process? Got it? Good. Let's get to it. Ladies first, we will start with Class A through 3A. The top team is the defending state champs from Sandia Prep. In fact, they've won the last 3 state titles. They are going for 4 in a row. They're 19-1 this year. Their only defeat was a 2-1 loss to Hope earlier in the season. Since then, they've run off 15 straight wins. They've only given up 4 goals during that span. Unbelievable. One word to describe Sandia Prep? I'd go with experienced. They have 8 seniors on this squad. Their goalie is a 5-time All-State player, Sam Jeffries. Their starting center back is Jackie Rodriguez. She's the reigning All-State Player of the Year. And then their comeback Player of the Year, following 2 ACL surgeries. She's their leading goal scorer, Issa Gilbert. Sandia Prep is one of those programs where the expectations are high because of their tradition.
I just think that it really is, when it comes to October, November, it's this expectation that, nerves don't necessarily get to us. It's one of those things that we've been there before. We've seen this for the past 4 years. We're going for our 4th in a row, and it's something that I think these girls really gravitate towards as compared to shying away from it. They love, competitions in practice. They love pressure games. They love being the ones that push each other, both on and off the field. So I think it's something that we're really looking forward to.
Sandia Prep gets a bye. So do the top 4 seeds, and they are Socorro, St. Michael's, and Bosque. Socorro has only given up 3 goals this entire month. St. Michael's lost in the title game last year. They're trying to get back there again. The Bosque girls won it all in 2008. Those are your top 4 teams in girls Class A through 3A. Now let's take a look at the bracket. East Mountain checks in with the 5 seed. They will host Santa Fe Indian School in the opening round. Robertson will take on Navajo Prep. Academy for Technology in the Classics will face Rehoboth Christian this coming week, with the winner taking on Socorro. And back up at the top of the bracket, the 8-9 matchup is Hatch Valley and Santa Fe Prep. We had the chance earlier this year to meet up with the Hatch Valley girls who are trying to make school history.
Hatch, New Mexico is known for its hot chili, and recently their girls soccer program is starting to heat up.
We've been improving every year. Every year just keeps getting better.
Hatch Valley has never won a girls' state soccer championship. In fact, they've never even reached the title game. But now, they have one of the best records in the state.
I'm feeling it, yes. I feel like it's the year. I hope so.
This group is fairly young. They only have 3 seniors on the roster. They hope to build something for the players behind them.
I think a lot of it is just passing down your knowledge to the younger people, because after this year, it's their team. Like, this is our last chapter, but they still have their whole story to build.
I try to encourage them during the games, telling them to keep it on, so they won't get tired.
They've qualified for head coach Arturo Bustillos.
Girls say I yell a lot. I'm not sure. Oh, give it to her? Now she's got to give it back. There, take it, Alana. Send it.
It's good yelling, though. He encourages us during the games and everything, yeah.
So what would it mean to finally win that blue trophy?
It means a lot. It's just making history. Every year we try to keep improving, one step at a time, making history, something new.
It would be the best, honestly. Ever since my 8th grade year, I think that was our first time going to state, and we've just been trying to get there.
These Hatch girls hope their game is as hot as their well-known hometown product when November rolls around.
One bracket down, and yeah, that's right, 5 more to go. Let's keep moving. On to girls Class 4A. If you have the NMAA 24/7 app, you already know the top seed went to the St. Pius Sartans. They are pretty good, 13-5 this year. In those wins, they're averaging 5 goals a game. They also have 11 shutouts so far this season. This team had the hardest strength of schedule in Class 4A. Emma Donlin leads this squad in goals and assists. The Sartans won it all in 2013, 14, and 15. Here's a look at the top 4 teams in girls Class 4A. Talking with the coaches, they felt these 4 teams were really strong this year. St. Pius, Hope Christian, Academy, and Aztec all get first-round byes. Aztec is really building something with 13 juniors on their roster. Albuquerque Academy is the defending state champ. They don't have that dangerous scoring machine like Eliza Mariner, so they've been a little more creative on the ways they create chances. Willa Weiss stepped up to play forward, where she hasn't played that much in the previous years, and she has 20-plus goals on the season. Freshman Anna Babinski has scored quite a few for this team as well. Academy's won 3 in a row, but they don't look back.
Take every year kind of fresh, it's a new start, it's a new opportunity to go into state. We don't really look too much back in the past because it is a different group and we have a different mentality and players and formations, and so it's kind of nice to just go. They know that there's a tradition, and we've obviously done well the past few years, and they want to get back to that semi or final, and but they know they got to really work for it and earn it because we still have that target on our back as defending champs.
Hope lost, and they're to Sandia Prep Academy and top seed St. Pius. Goalkeeper Taylor Bentley has only given up 2 goals in the last 8 matches. They have one of the top midfielders in the state when it comes to assists. Her name is Mia Martinez. Their top goal scorer. Going to take to get their hands on the blue trophy.
All the things that we've been working on have better come together on that day. And so, I want it for these girls. This is a special team. I mean, my daughter plays for El Dorado, and so, but I wanted to coach them this year because I wanted to be a part of that. And so I want it for them bad. And so I'm hoping that it just all comes together. I mean, I think we're just in the personnel to get it done. So hopefully on that day it all comes together.
Let's take a look at the rest of the field. Go ahead, take a picture. I know you want to. Silver, we'll see Taos in the opening round. Los Alamos gets Goddard this week. Grants and Artesia will square off. And Lovington will travel to Los Lunas with the winner getting Hope. On to 5A girls. There are some pretty strong programs at the top of this mountain. Volcano Vista is the one on the peak. The Hawks earned the #1 seed. They're district champs with a 16-2 record and haven't lost since the second week of September. They are deep. 6 seniors and 5 of them committed to play at college programs next year. Volcano Vista went to the final 3 years in a row in 2010, 11, and 12. But they haven't been back since. Maybe this is the year for Samantha Lucero and the Hawks. They'll have some tough competition here. The other teams who will get some first round rest. They all get byes. Cibola, La Cueva, and Albuquerque High. Cibola has a new head coach this season that the players are really happy with. Albuquerque High and head coach Natasha Lee, they are 15-2-1. Former Lobo men's soccer coach Jeremy Fishbine's helping out that squad this season. And of course, there's La Cueva. This program has won 14 state titles, 8 of them under head coach Amber Ashcraft. The Bears have played in the title game each of the last 3 years. The Bears lost in an overtime shootout to Sandia in last year's state final, and don't think they've forgotten about that one.
Yeah, we look back on it. It's kind of been like a motivating factor for us, and it is every year. It's always kind of a motivating factor here. We have a lot of championships, and we always want to bring that championship home to Cuevas. So it's one of those things that we do talk about quite often.
Let's take a look at the rest of the bracket. Mayfield and Cleveland will meet this week in the opening round. Hobbs, you are in the field against rival Carlsbad. Centennial is a 6 seed. Ladies, I know you're watching. And you will host Clovis, El Dorado, and Sandia. Round out the bracket with the 7-10 matchup. Now, let's switch gears to the boys. We will start in Class A through 3A, and I can summon the top seed with a snap of my finger. The Bosque Bobcats are #1. Bosque earned a first-round bye with their impressive 15-1 earlier this year. With 5 seniors on the roster, this squad has a good mix of experience and youth. Bosque last won it all in 2015. Here are the top 4 teams in their class. New Mexico Military Institute, Sandia Prep, and Monte del Sol. Welcome to the party to the 4 of you. Don't sleep on NIMI. They are 17-1-1. And the same goes for Monte del Sol. They are riding a 12-match win streak and haven't given up a goal in their last 11. Head coach Tommy Smith is in his 22nd season with Sandia Prep. The Sun Devils won it all last season. They have 5 freshmen and 5 sophomores to go along with 6 seniors. It's a different year, but the same expectations.
Oh yeah. The expectations, they don't change. Every year we, with a new group that comes in, the goal is still to win, the state title, qualify the final game, and a lot of the guys the young guys that we have a pretty good pedigree coming in. They've all played at a high level of club soccer, so they're used to playing at a pretty competitive level.
We'll have an inner-city battle this week. Hatch Valley will host Rehoboth Christian. Sandia Prep will get the winner of the Socorro East Mountain matchup, and Tierra Encantada is the 7 seed and will face Robertson. A lot of people don't know much about Tierra Encantada, where it's located, and what's their mascot? An alacran? Well, you're about to find out.
Tierra Encantada is one of the top boys soccer teams in the state this year, but many people don't know who they are or where they're located.
We're a dual preparatory, college preparatory school.
That is the alacran. Now I know you're asking, what's an alacran? The players get asked that a lot.
Yeah, we do. A lot. They're like, what's text? I was like, then we had to spell it out for them. We're like, Tierra Encantada, but it's like symbolizes our mascot, alacran.
The map. You'd be hard-pressed to find a program that's come so far in such a short time.
Last year's we didn't have a field.
When I first started, we'd have one ball that would go flat after 2 hours of playing, and just progression, we'd be on a...
It was just like losing, and the years passed, and we're just winning.
They've only been a varsity program for 4 years. Their first year, they missed state. The following advanced to the semifinals.
We saw a bunch of seniors that played a big part of it leave, and then it seemed like we didn't miss a beat. These seniors and juniors really took leadership. A lot of the kids who made that run, who played against Sandia Prep, were like, I want more, and we want more. So big lesson last year, and we're really excited to be able to progress from that.
Their success translates into more kids coming out for the program.
Last year, so I said, let's just give it a chance, and now we're doing good. We see ourselves like in the top teams of New Mexico.
And defeats, really bad defeats, like heartbreaking ones, we'll just say, but there's been a lot of victories. Seeing a lot of my seniors graduating, that's one of my proudest things to see.
Coach would love to see his team take the next step and advance to the state final. The Tierra Encantada Alacran and the rest of the soccer world is also beginning to take notice.
Only 2 more brackets to go. Can you feel the excitement building? Now let's move on to Class 4A. The top honor this year goes to Albuquerque for the last 6 years. They're 17-3 on the year, 13 shutouts. They've only given up 2 goals or more twice this season. Academy put together another solid year. So did these teams. Here are the top 4 seeds in boys Class 4A: Los Alamos, St. Pius, and Los Lunas. The Hilltoppers are 15-5. St. Pius won their district, and they hope to bounce back from last year's exit from the bracket at the hands of Los Lunas. In fact, the Tigers are hoping to flash back to the 80s and accomplish something they haven't done since Return of the Jedi was released.
The Los Lunas Tigers are tearing through the competition.
We're trying to put a new record on this, leave history here.
The Tigers are one of the top teams in the state. They seem to do it all. They find the net, and they're tough to score on. They've only given up more than 2.
I feel like what's doing well right now is our communication on and off the field. We have a great bond with each other.
I think we have a balanced team. We have each of us that we could run off of in the game.
Last year, Los Lunas entered the state tournament as a 9 seed, and they pulled off a St. Pius. Their coach says that victory was...
The program has a turning point where they do something, recognizably, at the same time a self-confidence booster in a sense. This is when we turn the corner.
They haven't won a state title since Natch.
We want Los Lunas.
We'll find out next month if 1983 repeats itself.
4A bracket, Lovington and Kirtland Central will fight it out for the right to face Academy. Los Lunas will await the winner of Chaparral and Highland. Taos has Alex Wagner, one of the top players in Class 4A, with 101 points. Taos will take on Valley. Hope and Santa Teresa will square off in the opening round this week. Last but not least, let's check out boys Class 5A. No surprise, the top team is Albuquerque High. The Bulls back, they won it all in 2015 and 2017. Better for Albuquerque High.
Perfection. It doesn't come often. In fact, was Sandia Prep in 2005. The top-ranked Albuquerque High boys soccer team.
Smaller, athletic, but also really technical, smart players. Stands how we want to play, probably better than any group we've had.
Our numbers up, so that's either sending our outside backs to go or getting our forwards in, making them turn, and then one-on-one or, try to get numbers up. And
about finishing with a perfect record and winning another state title.
We don't really talk
Focus on the next game. And
we hear it, but when we come as a whole, we know our focus is game by next game.
A characteristic we have about this team is that it really kind of a cliche, but really this group, every session we've got a purpose, every game we've got a purpose, and it never feels like with this group.
The Bulldogs have played in the championship match 4 of the past 5 years. One reason for their consistency.
Albuquerque is the best place to play soccer in the state, period, because we pool players from the UNM neighborhoods, from Martineztown, from South Broadway, this kind of clash of worlds and cultures that come here, and they bring that background to the field, and for me it makes for the perfect comp.
We come from different parts, that means we play different at those parts. So when those different parts come together, then it's just something for the other teams to read. So like when they try to mark us or try to pressure us, they don't know how because we play different.
Albuquerque High won a state title in 2017. This is another odd-numbered year. Is 2019 the season they lift the blue trophy again?
That year in 2000, it's just that feeling that you have, and we have that feeling this year.
Dogs on three, dogs on three! 1, 2, 3, dogs!
Who else will join Albuquerque High for a first-round bye? Mayfield is the two fantastic season. They are 16-1-1 and haven't lost since the second match of the season. Defending state champ Cleveland is the 4 seed. Let's break down the bracket. I know you've been waiting a while. Here it is. Again, all the seeding today is data-driven, based on the criteria voted on by the member schools. La Cueva and Las Cruces will play the 8-9 matchup. That winner gets the Bulldogs. Gadsden is a 5 seed and will face Oñate in the opening round. Hobbs is 6 and will host Volcano Vista. Rio Rancho and El Dorado round out the bracket. So there you have it. 3 classes for the girls, 3 for the boys. The brackets are official. Don't forget, as we approach the state championships, the title games can be seen on the NFHS network. So get a subscription and log on so you can watch the championship games. That's going to do it for this seeding and selection show for the Fuddruckers State Soccer Championships. Good luck to all the teams in the field. Thanks for watching, and remember to compete with class. We'll see you out on the pitch.